This is Earl Amin with the 2020 Foresight Podcast, where CEOs of small to global companies share their insights. It is 6 questions in 9 minutes because top CEOs know how to listen and be concise. So let's get to it. First of all, welcome and tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, well, I will start with a difficult name. So my name is Hans Lagerweij. I'm Dutch, but living and working in Denmark at the moment, managing travel companies. Actually, it's 4 different travel companies. It's Albatros Expeditions, which has expedition cruises in the most remote areas of the world, Antarctica, the Arctic. Then we have in Greenland some fantastic hotels, restaurants, activity centers, tour boats, you name it, to also offer complete travel experiences to our guests. In Africa, we have some very beautiful safari lodges, safari camps for our guests, and also teams to deliver perfect experiences. And then we also organize around the world on 10 very unique places, adventure marathons, which are, as the word says, marathons, but then a bit more challenging but in a very beautiful, inspiring environment.
Outstanding. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. So tell me, Hans, what's the best thing about being the CEO?
Well, there's a lot of good things, of course, about it. But if I can highlight 2 points, first of all, you're in control, or you're shaping the future of company or companies. And I think that is exciting, really to think about 2, 3, 4 years ahead and the path towards that hopefully better future for the company and for us as team members. That is very exciting. And the second thing that is very exciting is simply the opportunity to meet so many people in your team, outside your team. These are highly social roles, and especially if you work internationally, you have got so much exposure to fantastic and inspiring individuals everywhere.
Indeed. Now, I'm sure I've heard that for many CEOs that leading the team can be a challenge, knowing the road ahead. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. It is not an easy job. It's not an easy job because you have to make sometimes tough decisions, and it's not nice to make tough decisions, but it is your call as a CEO to make them. It's also, and I would like to refer to the last year when it's, because of the COVID-19 crisis, our companies were extremely hit hard by it. Basically, travel stopped, and then still to be positive and motivating to the team. Well, at the same time, I promise you, I've said some really bad words when people were not around me. But you cannot do that before your team, because they need to find still inspiration and motivation on based on your behavior. And then also that the last thing you said, shaping the future, it is very exciting to shape the future and think long term. But at the same time, and I think every CEO will complain about, is that the day-to-day challenges and issues take sometimes up too much of your time. So it's not an easy job.
True that. Well, in all of your experience, or out of all of your experience and perspective and perception, what specific piece of insight do you want to give to other CEOs?
Yeah, there's 2 things. The first thing is, so when I was, a junior in business, people taught me about you have to have an elevator speech. So if you are in the elevator with the CEO, you have got a great idea, you have to tell it then to them in a few lines, in a few words. Elevator speech. And now I would say, as a CEO, you need to have a reverse elevator speech to your team, because you cannot share with your team your strategic plan of 50 or 100 PowerPoint pages. You have to be very concise and and very good in explaining where you want to go and what the objectives are and the vision are in just a few words. So reverse elevator speech. And the other thing that I'm really passionate about is diversity. And let's not approach diversity from an ethical perspective, because there's plenty of ways that people do that, or from a company perspective to make the company better, but also from your personal perspective. It is so important to be surrounded with people who are different, who have different backgrounds, who don't always agree with you. Because if you just hire people, with the same background, the same study, the same country where you're from, you get the same answers to the problems, and they might not be the right ones. So diversity to make yourself better, to develop yourself as a leader. I think that is a point that's not often looked at, or an angle that is not often looked at.
Right. And agreed. Well, tell me along the journey of your rise to CEO of multiple companies, what other of your contemporary CEOs, successful like yourself, would you like to acknowledge or give a shout out to and should be on my podcast?
Oh, there's so many, Earl, but because I think it is critical as a CEO that you look around and find also inspiration from other leaders. That's also a way to develop. But one of the persons that I thought was always very inspiring is James Thornton. He is the CEO of Intrepid Travel, and it's actually a global adventure travel company, but based in Australia. And they are by far the leaders in sustainable and ethical travel. And every time they raise the bar again, really setting an example in the industry. And yeah, to me, that is tremendously inspiring.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, let me ask you a final question. How do you celebrate a win?
Yeah, that's a fun question. Let me first stress that it is extremely important to celebrate a win, because in our days, I said it before, there's a lot of tough decisions to be made. There's a lot of fires that we need to put down, but there's also successes, and we need to celebrate them. First of all, with the team, and there's no fixed, how do you call it, solution to that. It could be from as little as bringing in a cake in the company, have cakes. Here in Denmark, we seriously like the drinks after work. So provide a drink. But what I also have done in the past is, the better the year, the bigger the Christmas party. And that's also, I think, an extremely important moment to celebrate. So that is with the team. And first of all, I think you should always celebrate it with the team. But at the same time, of course, it's also when there's a big win, when a big partner customer is being acquired. I go home, and for me personally, I like to celebrate it with a very, very good bottle of red wine.
Excellent. That's a tasty treat. Well, Hans, it's been a pleasure having you on. Tell us all, how can people find you?
Well, they can find me, of course, on social media. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter. So those are the media that I prefer to use for work. But they can also always contact me via the companies. Albatros Expeditions is our most global company. So have a look at the website and contact us.
Excellent. This is Earl Amin with the 2020 Foresight Podcast. For more insights, go to LinkedIn and search for The Gray Owl Company. Hans, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Earl.